Imagine waking up in a world where every country runs like Malaysia in 2026. Just pause for a second and picture that. A world where diversity isn't something debated in parliament, it's something lived on the streets. A world where culture isn't preserved behind museum glass but performed at festivals, night markets, food streets, and in the rhythm of daily life. A world where economic strategy blends bold modern projects with a deep respect for heritage. Sounds unreal, right? But today, let's explore exactly how that world would look. And trust me, you're going to be surprised. Before we go any further, let me ask you something. When you think of Malaysia, what comes to your mind first? Food? Culture? Skyscrapers? Or that unstoppable spirit of bowl? Hold that thought, because that spirit is exactly what shapes the world we're about to imagine. Now picture this, it's 2026, and governments around the world suddenly adopt Malaysia's model of multicultural coexistence. They encourage people of different religions, ethnicities, and traditions to live side by side, not just tolerating each other, but celebrating each other. Imagine streets in Europe, Africa, America, and Asia where Hari Raya, Deepavali, Chinese New Year, Christmas, Kamatan, and Gawai are celebrated with the same level of excitement and unity Malaysians know so well. Would conflicts reduce? Would understanding grow? Or would it reshape societies completely? What do you think? Here's the twist, in a world run like Malaysia, food diplomacy instantly becomes global diplomacy. Imagine countries competing not through weapons or sanctions but through flavor. The world suddenly becomes obsessed with roti canai, nasi lemak, char kway teow, nasi caribou, and satay. Street food becomes a national strategy. Tourism booms. People travel not just to see landmarks but to experience flavors that tell stories. Because in Malaysia, food isn't just food. It's cultural storytelling on a plate. Now imagine every country embracing that idea. What would be the global signature dish? Breakout question for you, which Malaysian dish do you think would take over the world first? As we move into the economic side of this imaginary world, things get even more interesting. Malaysia in 2026 focuses heavily on balancing rapid development with environmental responsibility. Other countries start looking at how Malaysia preserves rainforests while building high-tech cities. Suddenly, sustainable planning becomes the global standard. Urban development doesn't mean destroying nature anymore, it means building around it, integrating green corridors, preserving wildlife, and treating environmental protection as patriotic duty. Now imagine giant economies doing the same. How different would our planet look today? Here's where the mini hook kicks in. Malaysia's unique ability to blend old and new becomes the world's new trend. Think about it. Kuala Lumpur's skyline stands boldly with the Petronas Twin Towers and Merdeka 118, yet just a short drive away, you find villages, heritage sites, and cultural traditions unchanged for generations. This balance becomes an international strategy. Countries start teaching their students not only coding and AI, but also traditional crafts, languages, and cultural values. In this new world, progress and identity move hand in hand. And suddenly, global culture becomes richer, not diluted. Another quick question to refocus your mind: what part of Malaysia's identity do you think other countries would struggle the most to copy? Let's talk politics, but in a simple, drama-free way. In this imagined future, countries around the globe adopt Malaysia's approach of having multiple major communities represented in leadership, each with their own voice and concerns. Instead of fighting for dominance, the idea becomes cooperation. Cabinet tables worldwide start looking like Malaysia's, diverse, balanced, and structured to represent all groups. Does it solve every political issue? Of course not. But it does shift the global mindset from who wins to how do we all move forward. And that alone changes everything. Now here comes another twist: global education takes a Malaysian turn. The world begins to emphasize multilingualism the way Malaysia naturally does: Bahasa Malaysia, English, Mandarin, Tamil, plus local dialects. Suddenly multilingual students aren't rare, they're normal. Global communication becomes easier, misunderstandings shrink, and international business becomes smoother. Imagine the world where switching languages mid-sentence is seen as intelligence, not confusion. Malaysians already master that skill, now the world catches up. Take a moment and think, if you could magically add one Malaysian value to every country's education system, what would it be? And now let's shift into the emotional side. If every country ran like Malaysia in 2026, people around the world would experience something Malaysians sometimes take for granted, that warm sense of belonging created through community. Gotong royong becomes a global term. Neighborhood cooperation becomes normal. People start helping each other without expecting anything back. Streets feel safer. Communities feel tighter. Humanity feels warmer. And suddenly, countries realize that development isn't just roads and buildings, it's people. Then comes the global tourism twist. Countries study Malaysia's strategy of blending modern attractions with cultural authenticity. Think of Langkawi's beaches, Sarawak's rainforests, Penang's heritage streets, Sabah's mountains. Now imagine nations preserving their own natural wonders with the same passion instead of commercializing everything. Tourism becomes respectful, sustainable, and experience-based. Travelers learn, not just consume. Let's take another breakout moment. If you could recommend one place in Malaysia that the world should copy, which place would you choose? And because this is a what-if world, technology leaps forward too. Countries start following Malaysia's approach to digital transformation, smart cities, cashless systems, fast digital adoption, tech-friendly policies. Suddenly global economies become more agile. Innovation becomes accessible, not elitist. People from all backgrounds get opportunities in digital growth. The digital divide shrinks. And the world feels connected in a more meaningful way. As we come to the final twist, imagine this scene: world leaders sitting at a global summit, not discussing conflicts or trade wars, but discussing how to replicate Malaysia's harmony, cultural richness, and economic balance. They talk about unity, food culture, education, responsibility, innovation, and compassion. And they all agree, maybe the world doesn't need to become identical. Maybe it just needs to embrace the Malaysian mindset, a mindset built on balance, respect, and possibility. So here's the final breakout question for you: if every country truly adopted Malaysia's way of living, what do you think would change first, culture, economy, or mindset? If you're proud of Malaysia and the possibilities it represents, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Not because you have to, but because your voice adds to the global conversation. And maybe, just maybe, your perspective inspires someone watching from the other side of the world.